You're listening to the Platte River Bard.
The Lofte Community Theatre is located in Manley, Nebraska, just 30 minutes outside Omaha and 40 minutes outside Lincoln. With approximately 360 seats, the Lofte offers 6 core season productions, as well as many special events featuring visiting artists. They hold a week-long children's theater workshop, a free Veterans Day concert, and host high school one-act play competitions in the fall. Approximately 12,000 visitors come through the doors annually.
The Lofte Community Theatre has a history of entrepreneurial and artistic spirit since its inception in 1977 by Diane Reese, who was the English speech and drama teacher at the Weeping Water Public Schools from the early to late 1970s. She realized that there was a great deal of talent not only in the school, but in the surrounding area as well. She envisioned a performance space where anyone interested in performing could gather and do just that. Since the area is agricultural in nature, the obvious setting for this space steered her towards Howard Rathie, who owned a homestead and a large barn on Highway 1, just a few miles from town.
Once he agreed to the project, Howard and his son Les did the bulk of the heavy work, volunteering several hours to renovate the old barn. A cement floor was poured, and the interior was power washed to clean 80 years of collected dirt and grime. The stage and balcony were built, water lines run out to the barn, and the whole building was wired for electricity.
Diane gathered a group of performers and began rehearsals for Godspell. The cast, orchestra, and crew were comprised completely of high school students and others in the community. They borrowed folding chairs from the local funeral home and put on a show with theater lights comprised of light bulbs and coffee cans.
The show was such a hit, the group decided to add 2 melodramas that year, and they, too, were a success. While the cold weather ended the season, it was obvious that the little theater must continue. Starting in 1977, the Born in a Barn Players operated out of the much-loved renovated barn for 29 years.
In 2006, the Lofte constructed a new post and beam style performing arts facility in Manley, Nebraska. With a successful capital campaign and a construction loan obtained from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, actors and audience members now enjoy a beautiful, climate-controlled venue year-round.
The artistic director for the Lofte, Kevin Colbert, has been involved with the Lofte Community Theatre since its inception in 1977. Born and raised on a farm approximately a half a mile away from the Lofte, Kevin has remained close to the area since graduating from Weeping Water High School in 1975. He earned a Bachelor of Science degree from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln in 1980 and taught English, speech, and drama before becoming the full-time artistic director for the Lofte in 1985. Kevin was also the producer and director for KBC Productions for the winter theater season at Mahoney State Park from 1993 to 2015. He currently resides in Weeping Water with his wife Betty and their 2 cats.
And speaking of Kevin's wife, Betty Colbert is the musical director for the Lofte and began her musical directing career at the Lofte with Something's Afoot in 1980. Since then, she has served as musical director for most of the Lofte shows. She has a Bachelor in Music Education and a Master's in Vocal Performance from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and was the vocal music teacher at Elmwood Murdoch Schools for 20 years.
On this episode of the Platte River Bard, we talk with the artistic director of the Lofte Community Theatre, Kevin Colbert, about their latest production, Making Spirits Bright. Briefly about the play. We all feel the modern strains of the holiday season, shopping, decorating, and food preparations. Follow one couple through a Christmas season that helps them bring back the spirit of what the holiday is about. Through magic, love, humor, and a mysterious neighbor, Nick and Helen rediscover the joys of the holidays. This play was written by local writers Kat and Will Cover, who we will also talk to, as well as the cast of the show, which includes myself, Will Cover, and Brandy Hall. Hello, hello, and welcome to the Platte River Bard. This is Chris Berger.
And I'm Sherry Berger.
And we are here at the Lofte Community Theatre in fashionable Manley, Nebraska. And we are here with the cast and the writers of a locally written play called Making Spirits Bright by Kat and William Cover. We're also joined by the artistic director of the Loft, that would be Kevin Colbert, and the cast. I am part of the cast. Our good friend Brandy is part of the cast, and William is part of the cast. So everybody just go ahead and introduce yourself. William.
All right. Well, I'm Will Cover, and yes, kind of pseudo co-author of the script, though I had a few things that I did with that, and I'm reprising the original role that when it was first produced of the character of Shade. So yeah, I've got a long history with the Loft, and graduated of the University of Nebraska-Lincoln Department of Theater Arts.
Ooh, very nice.
Woo.
Very good. And Kevin Colbert, of course.
Thanks. Chris, Sherry, thanks for having us on your podcast. We really appreciate that.
Of
Welcome
course.
to the Loft. Pleasure to see both of you here. It's been a real interesting process to put this play together. As the artistic director, my name is Kevin Colbert. I've been involved with the Lofte Community Theatre since its inception back in 1977. Been involved with every production since then.
But you're so young.
Yes, I am. Yes, and getting older by the day, and nearing the 50-year mark.
Wow.
Here, darn near, almost.
Good for you.
Yeah. But I live in Weeping Water with my bride, Betty, and graduate of the University of Nebraska at Lincoln through the Teachers College. So I did all of the drama courses. Were just the entry-level courses. I didn't learn anything in drama when I was there. I had to learn about teaching and things like that.
Right,
so
right.
most of what I learned by doing, and which I think is the best teacher anyways. But I'm on my 34th or 35th year of the artistic director here at the theater.
Wow.
So we're pleased to have you guys here. Thanks a lot for
Oh,
having
no,
us.
thanks. Absolutely. Thanks for
Thanks
having
for
us.
doing it.
And Brandy is my lovely co-star and is playing my wife in the show.
Yes. I play Helen, but by day I am Brandy Hall. I am a band teacher
Yes.
in Syracuse, Nebraska. Been down there a couple years. I live in Papillion, so I drive right by the Loft on my commute every day, which is kind of
every
nice.
day.
I wave. Nobody waves back, but I do wave at you twice a day, every work day. No, my first show with the Loft was, 2003. So it's
okay.
The
It's
old
been
barn,
a
right?
spell, at
Yeah,
the old barn.
at
I
the
got to
old
do
place,
one show at the original barn. So
That's right, because the Loft used to be in an actual, old barn.
We were in a
like,
1929 hog barn for 30 years.
No air conditioning, no nothing, just...
No heat, no air conditioning,
it is
no
what it
running
is.
water.
uphill both ways.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
It was.
Very
yeah.
little electricity. And
Dressing rooms were in a cornfield.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Do you ever miss it?
Yeah, do you ever
Yeah.
miss those days? Because,
I'll tell you
obviously
this.
you have a nice facility.
You
now.
know, there are things I miss and there are things that I don't. Boy, am I really glad to have air conditioning, because the older you get, it's hot.
Yeah.
So the heat I don't miss. I do miss the intimacy of the old place. You could virtually kick the first row in the face but by standing on stage. It was close.
Yeah.
And so I do miss the intimacy. This is a bigger facility, and which is different challenges. It's good and bad, but I think out of the old place, that's what I miss most, is the intimacy and the immediacy of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But not the heat.
No, God. Oh, my gosh. So now, Kat,
Yes.
you as the, according to Will here, you are the sort of the primary author
Yes.
of the play. Thanks for talking with us today. We
No
don't get
problem.
a chance to talk to playwrights very often, and
Yes.
especially one that we actually get to do. I get to do their material. This is really actually very exciting. So I'm going to ask you,
Yes.
how did you get the idea for this? Where did this come from? Why this? And why this?
Okay. So Will and I were producing the winter shows out at Mahoney State Park for a number of years. We had when Kevin stopped doing it, we took over for a number of years. Trying to find a Christmas show that hadn't been done.
It's not Christmas Carol. Yeah.
Or some version thereof.
Yeah, exactly.
Script after script after script. You buy 15, 20 scripts. You get they look like they're going to be great. You get to page 15, and there's something horrible. And when I'm like F-bombs or
Oh no!
or
So much for
sometimes it was disturbingly horrible, going, not my idea of Christmas.
No.
So it got very frustrating trying to find a Christmas show, and we had done two that we liked very much. And when it came the third year, I'm just like, couldn't find anything. So I started writing my own. And a lot of this script came from my own life. And part of the reason I think it resonates with people is because of that. The arguments about who puts up ornaments, the favorite foods, those kinds of things. I tried to pull as much of that in as I could. I'd done some writing previous. This was my first fully produced script. So
okay.
I'd done some one acts, but this was my first big one. And you guys are doing it because the Loft production was supposed to be huge.
Yeah. It was a Dickensian story. It was a Christmas Carol, but a different kind of Christmas
you
Carol.
guys are doing it
Everything that went wrong is supposed to go wrong, and the costumes for that
my
were
gosh.
huge.
Intense.
The set falls down. I mean, we're talking production values that
wow.
were way too costly, and of course now with COVID, there was no way that we were going to be able to spend that amount of money. We just weren't able to have it.
Yeah.
So when we found out that Kat had this delightful script,
Yes.
and God bless her, was willing to let us put it on for and I'll say minimal royalty, but I really appreciate that. It just made sense, kick the show that was going to cost us thousands.
Sure.
Let's try to find something that still has great Christmas spirit, that the production value is lower, didn't cost as much to do. That's not the only reason was cost, but it was an important. It had a good message and had a good meaning. It had everything Christmas needs to have. And that was important, too.
It was the impetus for me to offer it and go, Kevin, read this.
Yeah.
Here's the video
Yeah.
of the last
Yeah,
time. This would cost you a lot less to do. So it was good for me. It was good for him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's always I always just love it. I mean, you're a local playwright, and the local community theater supports the local playwrights. I mean, that's the way it ought to be.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah, I think it should be that way.
And I really enjoyed it because it's a play that not only, of course, had I not heard of course, but I never had a chance to do, and I love that because I get to come to it just completely free, and of course it turned out to be such a nice script, and of course Brandy and Will have been sort of perfect to work with, so
It's been a lot of fun.
it has been a lot of fun.
So, what is your background? Are you into theater during college?
I
or-
have been blessed that 90% of my adult life I've made my living in the theater.
Good for you.
Wonderful.
In any capacity known to man. I went to college way too long.
I got a couple of friends like that.
Yeah.
One of them still in college.
You must
the
have enjoyed
bachelor's,
it, so-
I worked for 10 years as a costume designer and independent, and then went back to college when I realized that I actually wanted the education, and then I couldn't stop. So I got a bachelor's that was double emphasis in design and directing, and then I got the MFA in directing, and then went back and did postgraduate studies in costume design.
Excellent.
So Will and I own our own theatrical rental company. So I rent costumes, props, and stage weapons for theaters all over the country.
And the name of this company is
Grandpa Snazzy's in lovely Weeping Water, Nebraska.
Fantastic. Grandpa
Yes.
Snazzy's.
So that has, I do feel blessed because I have been able to make a living.
Yeah.
But because of the exposure, it's really all I know how to do. So
Yeah.
I write, I design, and I direct. I stopped acting. That's the one thing.
Gave that up. Okay.
I did give up acting. It stopped being fun when I couldn't remember the same line every night for 3 weeks. It was a Kevin production.
The last time you acted,
Yes.
you and I were on stage together here at the Loft, which was actually the last time that I was on the Loft stage, and that was Charlie's aunt.
That's the last
Is that
main
right?
show I
Yeah,
did.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
There you go.
I've had to fill in when I was directing and had actors disappear and had to step in and do a role.
Oh, yes.
But as a pleasurable, that's what I'm going to do with my month. I'm going to go act for a show. I don't do that anymore.
Fair enough.
So how many plays have you written? Is this your first?
This
or-
is not my first. It's my first produced full length.
Okay.
I wrote a number of one acts back in school. I tend to write short stories and shorter plays. I have another full length that I'm working on currently. That is not a Christmas show,
All right. Fair enough.
but it's just seemed to be the progression of the next thing to do.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's exciting. And how exciting it is to see it come to life on stage. Then,
it's
if this is the first
amazing to
time.
see words
Yeah.
become reality.
Yeah.
That's got to be neat to see something
And
that
this
you wrote.
time it's strange because the first time we produced it, I directed it. So as the director playwright, I could go, I don't like that. I'm gonna change those words.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You have that ability to go, no, don't say that. Say this. So once you've gotten the play to the point where you give it to another director, it's a lot scarier.
Yes. Giving your baby away.
Did I put enough in it for the intent to come across the way I wanted?
Sure.
That's my job as the playwright, is to get the material there that the director can use. And that was my did I have enough of that there?
Okay.
That was terrifying. But because it was Kevin that I've known for over 20 years,
Right. Yeah.
it felt better. It was like, oh, I can trust Kevin. I can give him my script.
Yeah.
He'll do it.
Yeah.
I had Kat, when I was at the park, there were times when Betty and I would take a vacation and Kat would step in. She directed for me while I produced, I don't know, 2 or 3 shows
three.
at least over at the park. And so, yeah, we've worked with each other for a while. And I wanted her to feel comfortable, too, knowing that because it is hard to say, okay, you know what, here's the words. And even though we said, come on as much as you want, I think she attended one rehearsal. And I don't
rehearsal.
Yeah, and I don't blame that either. I think, you know what, let me see what happens. Let me see how this plays. And I think it's an interesting thing. How interesting for, Neil Simon to watch this company do this and
Thousands.
this company do that and this company do this.
Yeah.
How much difference? Where's the nuances? What do they pick up? What do they find to be important? They may not be the exact same things that you found, but, as theater people, within our roles, we're all going to find a nuance. We're all going to find something that we're going to latch onto that you go, oh, you know what? Yeah, I wrote that. And that's exactly what I meant.
It's true.
And today was the first time I'd seen it
Yeah.
fully, and I wanted to wait and have the ability to just sit there and watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
I have not reread it either.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, no, I want to be able to try and be as objective as possible and step away and watch it. I gave myself some notes.
Excellent.
There's some stuff typed in my phone, but
Okay.
Was it 3 years ago? 4 years ago already?
4
yeah,
years.
yeah.
4
yeah,
years
yeah,
ago,
that you did it,
the
yeah,
last
yeah.
time.
So now Will, have you? Is this your first time being in this, or have you been in this before?
No, so I've been in this show before. I played the same character,
Okay,
Shade.
do Shade.
He's
And
the neighbor, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Shade, the mysterious next door neighbor.
Yes.
Who comes in and meddles in Nick and Helen's Christmas life.
Yes, indeed.
And it was kind of interesting because the parts of the show. I mean, when you live with the author, right? They're always like, okay, I'm working this. Let's work some dialogue. Help me out with this. Does this scan? Things like that. And then we got to the point where there's a very long monologue that Shade delivers that I probably ended up writing about 90% of.
Yep, that's his baby.
It's and so, which is frustrating then from the actor standpoint, and you've witnessed this several times where I'm just cussing myself.
You can't remember
because
it.
I'm on stage. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I wrote this stupid thing, and I cannot for the life of me remember what I'm supposed to say next.
It happens
and this
all the
is
time.
you feel stupid, just like this should just roll off my tongue. I wrote the stupid thing, but it's interesting too because here I am reprising the role, but I've got two new Nick and Helens, right? And every cast is different, and this has been an absolute delight. And I think it stands up what Kat's kind of talking about. The things that she's written, the words, the intent, they come through. Obviously, different interpretations, personalizations of character and things like that. But the characters that are Nick and Helen are in the words, right? And we all put our own layers on it. But it's a great success when you see multiple people playing a role, because just like it's easy when you're directing something that you've written to go, I don't like the way that is, I'm just going to change it.
Sure.
It's also easy when you're acting a thing to just go, I'm going to do this now, I'm going to do that now. And I tried to approach this one as coming in as if I had not ever done the role before, and wanting to build the character relationships and things like that, and be very open to things that Kevin would direct me to do that it's like, well, that's not what we stop it, that's
who cares?
who cares that that's not what we did the first
that's
time.
what we're
This
doing
is this
this time.
time, so you gotta
Do what
just
feels
drop
right.
that and do what you're doing.
Yeah, that is that's a hard rut to get out of sometimes, is if you've done a role multiple times.
Right,
And-
and
There's certain shows I'm never allowed to work on Picasso at La Gilles again. Because I was in it once and directed it 3 times. So I'm done with that show.
Fair
There's
enough.
just, you reach a point where you just can't do something again.
Yes, absolutely. Now, Miss Brandy,
Yes.
you've been around here at the Loft for just a few minutes. We may have done a show together.
Yes,
We
yes.
may have. How many? Do you know how many shows you've actually done up here, or how long you've been doing them? Maybe that's an easier.
And
way.
every time that comes up, I think to myself, I'm going to sit down and count
it's
them
been a
all.
lot.
And it has been. I did just one show at the original barn, and then in fact I found out as we started that show I was expecting my first child, and so then I became the mom thing and was away for a few years. The funny thing about that first show is I was teaching at the time and coaching speech team, and it was students. We had done a cutting of a play and then found out that the Loft was putting that play on, and they encouraged me to come out and audition, which I always love thinking back to that. But took a few years off and then came back, and now I try to get out here at least once a year and audition for something. But I don't know, we're up around maybe 16-ish shows
wow.
out here. It's
I have it all in a
Definitely.
database. I'll send it to you.
oh, there we go. See,
I have it all.
That's right.
you're known for your
Very
organizational
organized.
skills. That,
Several shows at the park as well.
Oh yes, yeah, and
Yeah.
and that was a very fun and different experience as well. That another setting with that intimacy with the
Yeah.
And when we say park, Mahoney State Park.
Yes.
But
Yes.
at the
Right.
Mahoney State Park, yeah.
Coons Memorial Theater.
Yes, indeed.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, some fun
That's kind of a
some
little
fun shows
smaller
out there as
intimate
well.
theater.
So
Yeah.
definitely a home away from home, and very happy to be a part of the theater family here at the Loft. Good group of people to be with. So
Yeah. Well, we've definitely had a lot of fun with this show.
it has been.
It's been
yeah.
neat. It's been fun. It's been a small cast. There's just 3 of us, which I haven't
Three
done.
characters.
Yeah, I haven't done something that small before. That's new for me. Is that new for you, or?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah?
And
I'm used to big cast shows. Yeah. Always,
yeah. And it has been nice. And was it last night? I think was the first night we saw each other's faces.
Right.
So
This rehearsal
We
process.
So
with
that
the
was
masks.
nice.
Yes, we unmasked
Yeah.
last night for the first time. And
Oh, that's
everybody's
what you look
"Oh,
like.
you
Okay.
shaved. Oh, yes, I did. Well, we really want to thank Kat and Will for agreeing to talk with us today. Thank you very much for the play that we've been doing. We've had a ton of fun with it, and we can't wait to record it so everybody else can see it.
Absolutely.
Hopefully it'll
It's
be
not
on.
just my job, Nick. It's my pleasure.
There you go.
That's part of the thing. He'll be quoting this for the next 2 months.
It's true.
Yeah. It's supposed to be online here.
Yes, and how do we watch this?
Well, within
once
a
we
week
do
or
it?
so, and I'm the technology neophyte here.
Fair
All I
enough.
know is that we're recording tomorrow, and then it will be put on the World Wide Web somehow. I think through Vimeo is how we're going.
Do a Vimeo. Okay.
Yes, and those details will hopefully be coming soon, as soon as I know what they are, because
Right.
as of yet I don't. I haven't been informed. I know someone else is working on that.
Right.
But I think the week before Christmas it'll be out there, and it's going to probably stay up until about the middle of January or so,
Okay.
and it will be free to see for anybody. This is
Oh,
this
wow.
is,
Just
this is going to be
awesome.
the Loft Community Theater's Christmas present to the community.
Oh,
That's wonderful.
Very nice, very nice.
Nice little play for Christmas. Okay, and and I know that the Loft keeps up on their Facebook page, so about a week or so, keep an eye on the Facebook page for the Loft Community Theater, and they'll have all the information on how and where to go to stream this free show.
And is December your match month?
It is.
So-
Which is important for us. It's always a big time of year for us, and since we don't get the opportunity to be in front of people
Yes.
to tell them and to remind them about it, this is helpful. The Midlands Community Foundation, if you give to the Loft through the Midlands Community Foundation, they have a percentage that they'll match for that donation. So that's always been big for us. So I'm hoping that people remember that, and as the year goes up, they can make that donation to the Loft, because we, like every other arts organization
Oh,
across
yes.
the entire country,
Right.
are in dire need of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
First to close, last to open, and all of us are trying to find ways. And if we have to do it online for now, this is our life. This is
That's-
what we're
yeah.
forced to do. So
That's how we have to
hopefully
do
people
it.
can see it and remember that the Loft is out there. I know it's tough for everybody, and
It
Yeah.
is.
yeah,
But-
but if they can remember us, well, that's great. We'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. And December's a great month for it, like you said, because the Midland Foundation, they will
Correct.
match whatever you donate.
It's not a 100% match, but they give a percentage of it that you donate.
That's the perfect
a percentage
thing.
of it they'll match. Yeah,
That is fantastic.
It is.
absolutely.
And all that information will be probably part of the video.
I think it's going to be.
Or-
Now, I'm going to say that, and hope that that's true, but I'm understanding that there could be a landing page that will take you through to a reminder that will be on there. It will certainly
Okay.
be on our website, and I know the link will be there to get to Vimeo to see the show, and we'll remind people about that this time of year. So I'm hoping that info is there.
Wonderful. Well, and I'm sure it will be on your Facebook page and your website.
Absolutely,
For
yeah,
sure.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
Yeah, they
so
keep up with their Facebook pretty
Yep.
good. So.
that'll be
yeah.
great. Yeah.
Well, we really want to thank everybody. Thank you,
Yes,
Kevin, for
thank
having us
you.
out here at the
Thank
Loft.
you for doing this. We really, really appreciate it.
No problem. No, and thanks, Brandy. It's good to see you again.
Yeah,
I get
good
to work
see
with
as
you
well.
again.
Always
It
a
gets to be
pleasure.
husband and wife. in
Yes,
this particular way.
exactly.
Yes, yes.
And of course, thank you to Will and Kat. Thanks for agreeing to talk with us here, and
This
is
thanks for the
wonderful.
very
And a-
nice play.
And a wonderful show. Yes,
Yes.
a very.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening and supporting the arts in the Platte River area and beyond. Please subscribe to our podcast so you are sure to catch all of our future episodes and join us on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Music for this podcast was used with permission by Screaming Skull Productions. See you next time on the Platte River Bard.